Welcome, everyone, to another fine episode of the R&R Podcast, the show that's like putting nipples on Batman and Robin's costumes. Disappointing, titillating, and bizarre. I'm your host, Robert Jones, along with co-host Randy Watkins.
What's up?
Hey, man. How you doing, baby?
Hey, man.
Hi. Randy, I gotta ask you something. Did you pick up my prescription? Did you get me my prescription?
Is that the mail order prescription from Canada?
No, baby.
That's the good shit.
Oh man, this is what a challenge this is going to be. Like, not a lot happened in the sports week. Not a ton.
No,
I mean,
I'm scraping the dark web for some good stuff for the podcast. Wasn't happening.
So basically, we're just talking about furry porn tonight. What are you doing in the dark web, Randy?
The dark web, where all the sports agents and other underlings live.
You know, man, just looking for recipes. Yeah, recipes.
Mocktails.
Yeah, for what? Bombs?
Where all the anarchists live.
I have a buddy of mine who, anytime I'd say Mazel Tov, he would think that's he would think Molotov. So he'd say, I'm going to use a Mazel Tov cocktail, and it's like, no, damn it, that's pretty sure a Mazel Tov cocktail is a glass of sacramental wine that you lift at a wedding, right?
Sans oil and fire.
That's right. All right, let's get into some of the stories here. Where do you want to start, buddy?
Why don't you start at the top? What about some NFL news this week?
Yeah, there is a couple of pieces of NFL news. I'll start with the least interesting first. The Tennessee Titans unveil brand new uniforms celebrating 20 years in the league, and they're pretty cool looking. Have you taken a look at them yet?
I have. I wanted to refresh my memory, but they were I like that they're kind of moving away from the powder blue. Mm-hmm. I'm sure as a Carolina guy, you like them moving away from baby blue because that color's already kind of staked out. Right. Nationally. But anyways, I really love the dark blue look to it. It's nice. And obviously they have, they have an all powder blue uniform, but it's nice to see them kind of, hopefully it will make them look a little more professional on the field than they're actually playing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like them. I like the powder blue as only an accent. That they still kind of kept it, but only as an accent on their jersey. I do like the darker. I really like all solid color uniforms, like they unveiled. I don't know if they'll do that for every home game. I'm sure they'll have a white uniform, but I do like the solid color one.
Yeah, it's a good look to it. Have you seen their blacks?
No, I have not.
Yeah, they've got a great one that's like I'll describe it to you. It's an all black front. It's a blue letter with a red border. They wear a red undershirt, and then they've got the powder blue up on the shoulders. It looks pretty good.
Oh, awesome.
Every team has to have a black alternate. We see that plenty in college sports too. Kind of going for that. What do you call it? Carbon fiber look. Mm-hmm. That was a big thing for NC State football last year. Like they believed that they had a better chance of winning when they wore the all black uniforms.
Yeah, those were awesome. By the way,
yeah, they did look pretty slick. Like as they go. And what's up with Chapel Hill doing like the Chrome Dome helmets? They wore those a couple times last year.
Yeah, those are really sick helmets. I don't know who came up with that, but they really pop. It's
tough for the military flyover because it blinds the pilots as they go. Really, really dangerous, man.
Catch a beam of light off of that Chrome Dome. The flyover, I'll just crash from Wake Forest.
But in some other NFL news, Thomas Davis has been suspended for the first 4 games of the NFL season due to PED use. His claim is that it's a substance he's used for years and just recently got flagged for. One, I don't know if that's the truth, but let's be honest. How do you feel about performance-enhancing drugs in the NFL?
I put it in my Metamucil every morning. I give it a little stir with my water. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure, my balls were shrinking. No big deal.
I don't know. It's kind of like, steroids and wrestling. Who isn't using them? A lot of the guys use it mostly for regeneration and recovery.
Yeah. A lot of HGH.
Right. And you understand they're using it for the right reasons, but I also understand the concerns about enhancing a player's ability. I will say in football, I don't think PEDs are going to help you to catch the ball better or throw the ball farther.
Oh, yes. The same argument as baseball. Yeah, steroids don't help you hit a ball.
Right.
Steroids help you recover. That's what a lot of people seem to misunderstand. Lance Armstrong was caught using testosterone and human growth hormone. And basically what that did is gave him quicker recovery. It didn't give him better muscles. It allowed him to go longer and to recover quicker. There seems to be a big misconception, especially because baseball steroid use, those guys really were packing on the pounds. They were putting on tremendous, arm muscle and leg muscles, and then their heads were swelling from water retention, all sorts of weird stuff.
Which people were quick to put an asterisk by Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire after they were busted. But I mean, you go back and look at the seasons they had. Yeah. That's raw talent right there. Yeah. I don't think that helped them hit a 95 mile an hour fastball any better than it would. Well,
that's just the thing. That's just the thing. Those guys were already amazing hitters. You have to be an amazing hitter to do better. And people used to make the argument, well, it takes a pop fly and turns it into a home run. No, that's really not how it works. If that was the case, there'd be more, younger guys hitting home runs in the minor leagues, getting their hands on the drugs, because you'd think they've got the most to risk, or rather they have the least to risk, because where are they going to get bucked down to?
Right.
So if it really was just jacking home runs, and as well as I do, we watch a lot of, farm league ball. It's not, they're not jacking tons of home runs there. And the guys who do get moved up. So, yeah, quite frankly, in the NFL, I hate to say it. I say anything that's safe for them, pump them full of it. If it helps you recover, gives you more elasticity, makes you more comfortable, I think they should have medicinal marijuana for players to help with inflammation. I don't see any, that doesn't make you better on the field. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I've gone back and forth on it. And as a father now, I kind of go back to what does that represent to, children, and I'm on the fence. I will say I can definitely see the argument for it, just like you just made, and the active recovery, and being that what Thomas Davis is over 30 now. How old is he now? He's 32, 33. So, he's an old man in a young man's league. So
yeah,
he's just trying to keep his body in shape. I don't think it's anything malicious about it, but they're just hard on it right now, being a banned substance and not allowing it in the league.
Well, and here's a big difference between the NFL and the MLB. Thomas Davis is still eligible for the playoffs. In the MLB, you have a positive test. Yeah, you'll sit out. There will be a suspension, but you are no longer eligible for the playoffs. You know what I mean?
So for baseball, he would not be eligible?
Yeah, you have a positive test. I think it's on the first test, but it may be on the second test. One of those, you become ineligible for the playoffs. So even if you come back during the season, you can't play in the playoffs. I mean, they're pretty strict in baseball, but you got to face it. They took a tremendous amount of backlash at the end of the 90s with that whole ordeal.
Yeah. Yep. And Clemens too. You think about Clemens, man. He's one of the top pitchers,
Right, and people are like, oh, it made him throw the ball faster. No, it helped his shoulder not hurt when he was recovering on 4 days.
Yeah, he was a badass before that ever happened. So
I don't think the layman understands why a pitcher needs as many days of rest as they do. I don't think they really understand that. Your shoulder is not designed to throw a ball like that. There's a reason why softball pitchers can play for 20 years and nobody cares. And it's because it's an unnatural motion. It's so unnatural, and we've gotten to the point where kids are going ahead and preemptively having Tommy John surgery in high school.
That is insane.
Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine having Tommy John surgery without having a problem?
No. Or even putting my child through it,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But you know what, Randy? I played with guys who were that passionate about baseball. There were some guys on my team who were very talented, and we were one of 3 teams they played on, It's a big deal. And for the kids, it's all they knew, but they really loved it. I mean, they loved being on the field. For the ones who get it, they're like a Labrador and a Frisbee on a beach.
Yeah, it's a way of life. It's a culture, and I see it with some of the guys that are around us, even some of them that play in our league, with their children being involved at the high school level. It's a way of life for them. It's all they've known.
Yeah.
And to be good at a sport like that, to be a craftsman at what you do, it's playing it nonstop. They're playing traveling ball, they're playing rec league ball, they're playing summer ball, they're playing fall ball, spring ball. It's just,
they spend every evening in the batting cage. I mean, that's really the key. I think about how much of a better player I'd be now if I'd had the opportunity. Not that I wouldn't have done it, but if I'd had the opportunity to spend more time in a batting cage when I was young. Mm-hmm. I think about my mechanics. I had very little instruction when it came to hitting in baseball. There just wasn't time. I was on a huge team, and we didn't have time to break down the mechanics of every single hitter. We did way more work on the defensive end. It was kind of like you're either going to hit better or you're not. And the guys who did were fine. But in that sea of players, I felt like, I got lost. So it's easy for it, and it's critical to the game, because at the end of the day, you can be a defensive mastermind, but if you can't hit, you're no value to the team, because at its core, baseball's a 2-man sport.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thinking back to my days, I don't remember a single head coach pulling me aside or pulling the team aside and showing us how to hit a curveball. Oh
my God. And that's such a hard thing. It's what makes or breaks great players. It's the reason why Russell Wilson's not playing baseball, because he could not hit the major league curveball. Could not. He was rubbish. And you're going to see the curveball all day.
All day long.
Yeah.
But I think back to my playing days, and a lot of the times, when you're 12, 13 years old, it's really throw the ball as hard as you can. But, there are kids that age throwing throwing curveballs and sliders, and it's crazy. Yeah.
I had a guy on my team who was 6'4". He was throwing high 80s in high school.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Not only that, man, he could put a thump on a ball. Amazing player. Player. Lights out pitcher, great at behind the plate,
Wow. Rare talent.
Yeah. Happy he was on my team and not the other one. I realized that every day. He'd pitch some games and I would be like, brother, I am so glad that you're pitching against them and not us. Which he always liked. But anyways, we got a little bit more NFL news, Randy. How about you hit us with that next story?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks got traded this week to the LA Rams for a first rounder from the New England Patriots.
Rams are snapping them up, man. We were talking about them last week.
Yep, they really are. And I guess they're using that first rounder not on OBJ, but on Brandon Cooks. What'd you think of that move?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. On OBJ, it's actually looking more and more like either nobody else wants to pay him, or he's actually going to stick with the Giants. So he's reporting to some training stuff that's coming up. Training exercises, not training camp, but some training exercises coming up.
I think, like we talked on last episode, that 2 first rounders is an ungodly amount to ask for someone who's a flight risk like that. If you're talking about, a 25-year-old Aaron Rodgers who you're going to have for the next 10 years, then by golly, do it.
I'll tell you what though, Randy, if you were in a position to trade 2 first rounders to pick up Tom Brady, would you do it?
Not at his age, no.
No, you don't think so?
I don't know, man. There are a lot of teams out there for championship looking for it right now. I don't know, man.
I think Tom Brady really hurt his luster in the last Super Bowl. He didn't look great. No. And he had an okay performance, like if you look at the numbers, but the optics weren't good. A lot of incomplete passes, a couple interceptions, and a couple of plays that really depended on him that he couldn't execute with plenty of protection.
And a drop ball.
That's what I'm talking about. That's kind of what I meant by the play that hinged on him. Here, all you got to do is catch a little floater, and as tall as he is, with as big a hands as he has, come on, man. I told you my favorite meme is the one where they replace the ball with the Lombardi trophy, and it bounces off the tips of his fingers.
Still hilarious. Yeah, right, I just think but to Brandon Cooks, he just didn't really fit in the New England system. Edelman got hurt, and they were like, all right, well, we've got Brandon Cooks here, who's going to come out and crush it and catch a lot of balls. I mean, he did very well at the Saints in New Orleans, but, he became a cancer in the locker room, constantly talked about being traded.
Yeah.
They got rid of him.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. And so now he's on to his third team in just a matter of a few years, 3 years, 4 years, I just don't think he fit into the system. And it is typical of Bill Belichick to get rid of high grade talent like that after a win or a loss in the Super Bowl.
It's going to be real interesting to see how long Belichick sticks around in New England. We're seeing more of the cracks in the facade there between Brady, Belichick, and Kraft. It was rumored at, and some of the post-season stuff, post-Super Bowl stuff, it just reinforces that. They keep trying to keep it behind closed doors, but, the media there that's very kind to the Patriots. They are so kind to the Patriots. They cut them a lot of slack because Bill Belichick is awful. You know what I mean? When it comes to the press, he's just awful. He doesn't give them anything.
Me and Tom, there's a lot of rumors out there that we're not doing well, but we just watched Netflix last night. Really good show on there now, and it's called Stranger Things. I'm on season 2. It's really good. And
Mr. Belichick, yes, as interesting as your Netflix queue is, what do you think about Tom Brady's hand injury?
Have you seen The Office? Like, that's a really good show too. Like, I think all 10 seasons are on, which like season 8 and season 9 is where it really goes downhill when they introduce Robert California.
I like this impersonation. I dubbed the crappy Bill Belichick. So crappy Bill Belichick.
Have you seen Master of None yet? That's a really good show too.
Wow. All right.
Aziz Ansari. He should have won an award.
The new segment on the show, Bill Belichick talking about Netflix.
Oh man. Yeah, he is a great dodger of questions, and great at the injury report.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. He takes Frumpy to a whole nother level.
He does, man. Talk about a genius with zero personality.
He looks like he smells like corn chips, and that his pants are covered in stains. Just kind of has that musty aroma. Like you're like, how long have you been in the tape room, Bill?
Especially when he would wear that stupid hoodie for like the whole season.
The time. Yeah. Some people don't shave. Bill Belichick doesn't bathe. He just cuddles up in a hole underneath the stadium. Super Bowl 0. All right. Let's get to the a week late to the winner of the NCAA final.
Yeah, Jay Wright and the Villanova, is it Wildcats, right? Villanova Wildcats?
Sure, why not?
Right?
Yeah, man.
Take home the title. So they beat Michigan, which everybody in the country knew was going to happen. Michigan started out pretty quickly, and I was like, all right, so this is going to be a game. And then Villanova just like woke up all of a sudden and beat the piss out of them for the next 40 minutes.
It was a thumping. Michigan went out to like a 9-4 lead in the beginning. And I remember hearing people like tweeting, it's like, oh man, look at this. Oh, they're going to contend. Oh, this is going to be a game. Nah.
They went cold as ice. They couldn't hit anything.
And Villanova's done that twice now. Both of their wins in NCAA finals have been by double digits.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty impressive.
All their wins this season, except for their 2 or 4 losses, were by double digits, the most in NCAA history.
Yeah, the fact that we went into this tournament with people thinking Virginia was going to win it all is laughable.
It is.
Well, I mean, like, again, I hate to prop us up, but you and I called it. We were like, I don't trust Virginia. And we're both like, it's hilarious to have them up there at the number 1 overall. I mean, like, I get it that their record, they only had 2 losses, but then the question is, who did they play?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It just goes to show you that's why it's March Madness. But
it shows, yes, exactly right. It goes to show you just how inconsistent the rankings are. When you have very low seeds beating high seeds, it's just anything goes. And this year, more than any other years I could ever think of in years past, that is what was represented in this tournament.
I mean, for Michigan to get to the final and they never played a higher seed than 6, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. And they showed it. They showed it. They looked all over the place. Villanova ran a much smoother offense. That kid off the bench, Leonardo da Vinci, whatever his name was.
Oh, yeah, that Italian guy.
He just come in and just dropped 31 points on them. Oh, yeah. Wow. That guy was awesome.
Oh, man.
It was cool. But, he could not be stopped.
Interesting conversation to have now. Jay Wright, 2 national titles in 3 years' time.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty darn impressive. That moves them into some rare air.
Yeah. 3. Yeah. I mean, up there above Boeheim. Yeah, it's Jim Boeheim.
Boeheim. Yeah.
Boeheim. More titles than him, and then H to the Izzo, and Bill Self. That's some pedigree right there.
Yeah,
especially Boeheim. He's over 900 wins, right? He's way up.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's behind K, but I do believe he's over 900 wins.
Yeah. K's got him by a lot, that's for darn sure. Well, and what hurt Boeheim is I think he had some wins vacated.
Yeah, that'll suck.
So
gosh dang it, I'm down to 650 again. Son of a
you idiots. But I will say, so Jay Wright joins in 2 titles apiece. He joins Phil Woolpert, Dean Smith, Branch McCracken, Ed Jucker. Yeah, I know. Here's some old throwbacks. Henry Iba and Billy Donovan and Denny Crum all have 2 national titles in basketball. So those are the only people with 2.
That Donovan had 2 titles.
Yeah, consecutive. He won those consecutively.
That's right. It was back to back.
Joakim Noah. I remember
Joakim.
Yeah, I was not a fan of Florida back then, so I'd be like, Noah, you curly-headed son of a gun.
Yeah, he was a pain in the butt.
He's kind of been a pain in the butt when he was in the NBA too. Big attitude problems with him. Let's see here. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, when we were researching this for the show, I came to a harsh realization that Roy has more titles than Dean Smith.
Oh, you didn't realize that?
I mean, I remember the talk after we won the national title last year, but I guess it just didn't sink in because Dean Smith is just a legend among legends.
Well, another interesting statistic, Dean Smith only has 1 national championship in the 3-point era.
Yeah, because he made his...
Yep, and they introduced the shot clock in college basketball because of Dean Smith.
Yeah, thanks to him. 4 corners, pass the ball around.
The god-darn Harlem Globetrotters out there for UNC back in the day.
How pissed off would you be if you were one of those players on the court and they're playing freaking keep away from everybody?
Sweet clap, pass me the ball.
But also, someone stands out at the top. Mr. John Wooden himself.
Yep.
Still 10 titles.
You have to take it into account that really was a different era. And I think a lot of people, when they look at it critically, it really was a different era. There were less teams on the national stage. Rankings were based on newspapers and who made it into the newspapers. And he, at UCLA, was essentially pulling all of the talent from the Southwest region to that school. I'm not diminishing him at all. Nobody's ever going to get 10.
Right.
Nobody's ever going to have 10.
No, that's an insane amount.
I still think
that record's going to stand for a long time.
I just have this instinct. I think K is holding on for one more. You know what I mean? I think he's got one more national title in him, and then if he does that, I think that would prompt him to retire, because I think he'd be very comfortable and happy with 6. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
I mean, not that you shouldn't be happy at 5, but it kind of feels like he wants another one for the other hand.
Right. For the other hand.
But yeah, Roy Williams in rare air, Jim Calhoun and Bob Knight. That's good company at 3 national championships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good company.
So,
but anyways, back to our question of, do you think Mr. Jay Wright is among the elite now? At least people are talking about that he is. I'm going to say, man, I've just thought about this question. It's hard for me to think of him as like a Bob Knight, Jim Calhoun, Roy Williams.
Yeah.
I think of more along the echelons of the Billy Donovans, the Phil McCracken, and the other guys in there. I don't think I will say at this point I don't look at as Villanova as an elite program, but we have said before on this podcast that a lot of talent's coming out of there and going straight to Villanova on the East Coast. So it only strengthens that program even more.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing is too, you've got to take wins and consistent wins over time. And it's tough for a guy like Billy Donovan, who's, he's coaching at Oklahoma City right now. So he's not still in college. But to really be in contention, there are guys who've got titles who then their teams just kind of disappeared. So really the test of time will be, let's see where he is in 15 years.
Right.
If he adds another couple of titles to that, even one title, sure. I mean, why not? I mean, he's in the conversation. He's in the conversation right now.
I think so. And not to diminish what he's done, but I mean, it's definitely 3 Final Four appearances in the last 3 years, and 2 wins. I mean, it's hard to.
That's pretty dang impressive.
Discount that. So, what do you do? It was a great tournament. It definitely lived up to the hype. I think more this year than any other years.
Yeah. All right. Hit us with that next story, Randy.
All right. So how about some baseball news? There was an interesting end in the 10th inning of the Padres and Astros game. Did you happen to catch what happened?
No, I haven't seen the play. I'm trying to pull up something on it now, but explain the play.
Sorry, I didn't include a link.
You're fine.
But so there's a runner on second. Infield fly. There's 3 guys around the ball. First baseman's coming in, pitcher's in, catcher's in. They're all staring at a sky-high fly ball. First baseman overplays it, and the ball goes behind his head, and the run scores.
Scores from second.
Scores from second.
That just goes to show you why the fundamentals always are in play. Last out of the game, you run your ass off to home. You know what I mean?
Walk off infield fly. I've never seen that. I mean, maybe I'm sure it's happened probably before, but I've never heard of that happening. I thought that was quite hilarious and newsworthy.
Who was the error on? I didn't hear who did the error. What
the first baseman? The first
baseman.
I'm sorry. The Padres first baseman.
Okay, I was going to say that doesn't sound like an Astros kind of a mistake. That sounds like a Padres kind of a mistake.
Yep. And if you lived in San Diego or Southern California before, you go, "Yep, that's exactly like the Padres."
Oh man.
Yeah, it was. Were you able to pull up the video?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's bad. That's sad.
They just hit it to the International Space Station, and they're just watching that son of a gun come down. just overplays it. And you've seen it before playing in softball where guys get ahead of the fly ball, and it's all of a sudden it just, I don't know if it hits a wind or whatever, just ball's dancing, and it's all of a sudden it's behind them.
Well, and it's easy sometimes to take those for granted and to lose it, especially, if you lose it in the lights or you lose it in the sun, there's a chance for that. But I don't know, man. Infield flies, there really shouldn't be anything directly over your head. You should be able to catch that. Who knows? You can't even blame it on season fatigue. We've only had like 10 games.
Can't even blame it on that. It was just a brain fart.
Oh yeah.
Well, how about you hit us with some Japanese baseball player news?
I mean, I can read the title, but I haven't really been following the story much. So, is Shohei Otani the real deal?
So, when I wrote this,
he's a pitcher for the Angels, right?
Yep, he is a dual threat. So I don't know if you know much about him, but not only can he throw a wicked fastball and over 95 plus, he can also crush homers. If you haven't watched anything on this guy, he was a first rounder that was drafted this year by the Angels.
It's a darn shame he's playing for the Angels then, isn't it?
And his first game was a win. His second game was last night before I wrote this. He pitched a no-hitter through 6.5 innings. It was whiffing everybody. So he has 18 strikeouts on the season for 2 games and a 2.08 ERA to start. So,
wow.
I believe he's already, dude, you got to hear his I got to pull up his batting statistics too, because the dude's just an insanely good batter. He's left-handed. He's hitting 364.
Wow.
And he's already crushed. Let me see here.
That's odd for a Japanese player too.
He's already hit 3 home runs in 2 games. So I'm sorry. He's batted 3 games. I'm sorry, 4 games. So they're actually batting him, Robert, when he's not pitching.
As the DH, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, he's that good of a player. Yeah.
So here's the deal. I just had a realization, and tell me what you think of this. It's just a brain fart. The National League is a little bit of a disadvantage overall when it comes to retaining end of career talent. Because if you're somebody who can hit, but you can't really run like you used to and play defense, you have to basically go to an AL team. You have to be a designated hitter. There is no option for you in the National League. And so in a way, there are guys who are getting more life and teams who are getting more life out of these guys in the American League. So it is a bit of a disadvantage in the National League. I don't know.
You think about the Red Sox. His name,
David Ortiz.
Big Papi.
Yeah,
Big Papi. How he extended the life of his baseball playing career by how many years? How many years was a DH? Like freaking 5 years.
It was a while. He hung on for a while.
Yeah. Had he been in the NL, you're exactly right. That would not have happened. He would have had to have gone to a team. Although I will say, guys like that strictly are just DH are pretty rare. But it does happen, and the AL definitely takes advantage of that. I still don't understand why one league can do it, and the other team, other league cannot.
Makes home field advantage a little bit more important if you're the National League team.
Yeah.
Because every team can hit better if they get a hitter, but not every team's pitcher can hit well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Think back to back in the day when Greg Maddux would crush some home runs every now and then. But we have not seen a player in the U.S. like Otani, and just the ability to play both sides of the ball this well.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does. We always it seems like every 2 or 3 years we have a ton of hype for a Japanese player coming to the league. Getting really excited, and I find that so many of them fizzle rather than sizzle. So it'll be interesting to see if he's got staying power and how long it takes hitters to figure him out.
Yeah, that's why when I wrote this down here, I was like, okay, is he the real deal? Excuse the
Randy, I can't hear you.
Helicopter.
Are you reporting live from Da Nang?
From Vietnam.
It's
coming in from the rice paddy fields. It's terrible. Okay, so that was somebody flying into RDU, as you could here from my studio, i.e. my dining room.
Oh yeah,
but
too legit to quit.
but the the MLB has not seen a guy like this, and that's why I wanted to get this out there. That is he the real deal? And I think he is, dude. I've watched my share of YouTube videos, and YouTube does not lie. This guy is the legit real deal with his 97-mile-an-hour fastball and can crush it. And as just crushing home runs. He's hitting like 500 feet home runs. So, yeah, I think he's here to stay. We'll see. You're absolutely right. Every year you hear about. I don't think we've heard about somebody with this much hype though behind him.
Yeah. All right.
Why don't you hit us with some NBA news?
Yes, NBA news. Kyrie Irving, in a move we also called a couple weeks ago, is out for the season with season-ending knee surgery. He will not play in the playoffs at all. So that's pretty much Boston done. I mean, they'll be in the playoffs, but they're not going to win. They've already started slumping without him. In a big way. But that's something we talked about weeks ago, where like he was going in for a non-surgical procedure.
They found a meatball sub inside of his knees.
Oh yeah.
Sorry guys. We're gonna have to call off the season. We got a meatball sub here. I had no idea that was in there.
Charles Barkley, what are you doing in here?
Hey boys, I'm just here to eat the meatball sub.
Just practicing my golf swing on his patella.
It's the worst golf swing in the history of golf swings.
It's a full body spasm. Although he's worked with a swing coach and he's improved it. It doesn't look as jackneed as it used to. But this raises an interesting question. So who is going to go to the finals from the East? I mean, people were really saying, like who can contend with the Cavs? Well, Boston might contend with Cavs. I remember the big story, like how embarrassing it would be to LeBron for Kyrie to beat him in the playoffs. Well, that's not going to happen now. It's not going to happen. So as far as I'm concerned, the only other teams that could really contend in the East would be the Sixers and the Raptors. I don't know, man. I just still see the playoff LeBron's going to show up and the Cavs will make it to the finals again for the 8th time.
He knows he just has to make it to the playoffs, and then that's really all that matters. I mean, top 8 make it in. It's not a big deal if you finish, a winning percentage of 600 or so.
I think it's a little more clear cut in the West, though. What do you think? Do you see anybody else coming out of the West other than the Warriors and the Rockets?
The Rockets have just been killing it. I think with the addition of CP3 being there has really taken that team off. So I don't know. I believe they could be in the finals this year.
Yeah,
they're gonna upset special with the Warriors.
I agree with you completely. My money is Cavs Rockets. If I had to put money down today, it's going to be Cavs Rockets in the finals. Yeah, because the Warriors are slipping. They just are.
Yeah, I would like to see that. Man, the Raptors have looked so good. I don't know what they're going to do come playoff time. You know what I mean? So I would like to see that young team. They got some great guards, and I would like to see a minute, but I don't know. It's definitely going to be an interesting playoff this year.
Yeah.
So.
All right. What's next?
So UFC 223 happened this weekend. And I don't know if you saw what happened, but at one of the press conferences, Conor McGregor shows up. And he is like backstage. Somebody's got this video camera. They're filming what's going on. And one of the guys that's going to be fighting, Khabib is his first name, is going to be fighting is his old training partner. Yeah. And I don't know if they have a beef. I don't know. Conor McGregor was supposed to be fighting, I believe, on this card. It didn't happen. But a lot of hype around if he was going to come back. The UFC is going to put him in because one of the fighters got hurt, and then all of a sudden he picks up a truck dolly and launches it through the bus of this fighter, fighter's bus and his entourage. And I was thinking to myself, did the UFC just pull a WWE move?
I think they
did.
I think they absolutely did. This screams PR stunt. This just absolutely screams PR stunt. So like they're gonna bust Conor McGregor down, and then that'll make him a villain, but he's gonna have an opportunity to come back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They strip him of the title. This guy wins the title. I mean, he crushes his opponent. It wasn't even a fight, and yeah, it's like they're creating this villain. Exactly what you just said. Like I was looking at this, like. This stuff normally doesn't happen outside of wrestling, but I'm sitting here watching this and like, oh, he's going to be charged with felonies and misdemeanors and this and endangering a lot of people.
I'll tell you what,
you have videos that I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I'll tell you what, Randy. It's like the gosh darn fajitas at Chili's. You don't sell the steak. Idiots sell the steak. You sell the sizzle. You sell the sizzle, Randy.
Yeah, because that steak tastes like shoe leather.
But like that's why they do it. That's why they bring it out to you searing hot. It's the sizzle. It's the drama. It's the great Greek tragedy that has become. So like, it doesn't surprise me at all. And speaking of which, I'm glad you mentioned WWE because guess what happened this last weekend, brother?
WrestleMania.
Ooh, yeah. Well, let me tell you something about WrestleMania, Randy.
You gotta tell me my brother Undertaker made it back from the dead.
So Brock Lesnar retains his title, and Ronda Rousey surprises everyone, or not surprises anybody, shows up and kicks some tail, man.
I was seeing her get thrown through a table and by Stephanie McMahon and that whole drama unfolding, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! On Stephanie McMahon's best day, she could not throw Ronda Rousey through a table.
Yeah, but so here's the deal. You pointed it out best by bringing this up. There is a blurring of the lines between UFC and WWE. I mean, Brock Lesnar is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. While he's under contract with the WWE, the UFC brings him back in a fight.
I think they've got some
cross promotion.
I think there's a deal there. I think they've got a deal there, and I think they realize that the people who are into MMA are also the people that are into WWE, and I think that's why there's that crossover. Why wouldn't you do it? Especially because you in a controlled environment, it happens, but you're reducing the risk of injury. At WWE, they do a lot to really do that. I mean, I don't know if you've ever actually been on one of those mats. Knowing you probably have. But they're designed completely to absorb. You know what I mean?
You talking about the wrestling mats?
Yeah, the wrestling mats.
Oh yeah, just how they're they're built.
Yeah,
the springboards basically,
and hydraulics and all sorts of stuff. So like these guys will take these. Now again, they are tremendous athletes, and the pure wrestlers, non-UFC guys, will get up there, and they're doing all sorts of acrobatics that are really dangerous for them, but they know what they're doing.
Right.
But in a controlled environment, that's why they'll have celebrity. Donald Trump, our president, for God's sakes, Randy, was on the WWF.
Yeah, I remember that back in the day.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Him and Vince McMahon, nothing like a couple billionaires wailing on each other like drunk gorillas.
I'm watching this video of Rousey picking up Triple H on her back, and Triple H has the stupidest look of like agony / just scared for his life. Like he's gonna get dumped on his head.
No way.
Look. I'm like, this is such a joke. I can't believe I used to love this. Just wrestling is just not what it used to be. It's just not what it used to be, god dang it. Back in my day, the Ultimate Dragon would have pummeled anyone.
Back in my day, we didn't have nipples, just snow, miles of snow. All right, man. How about we get into some Masters news? That's the one big sporting event that happened.
So, if talk about no drama unfolding at the Masters, Patrick Reed had the lead from Friday on, and not a damn thing else happened.
I will say, Jordan Spieth posted an 8 under on Sunday. That was exciting. But it wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Spieth tied the course tournament record for lowest round on Sunday.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I'm a big. I don't know. There are a lot of people in McIlroy camp, but I'm a Spieth guy. I like the cut of his jib. People say it's boring, but he goes out there and he wins. But interesting thing about Reed, it seems like the media was against Reed the entire weekend. I've never seen anything like it. And all the stories today were like, not popular with the fans, but still a winner. And it's like, why is that your story? Why can't we celebrate this guy? It's funny. He was kicked out of his first college. He was kicked off the golf team. And then he went and joined Augusta College's golf team. So in a lot of ways, this is kind of like the hometown course.
Right.
I don't know if the Augusta team actually gets to play on Augusta National, but he's an interesting guy, and apparently has no relationship with his parents. In fact, they have tried to latch on to his success, and he had them forcibly removed from the PGA Championship, had them removed from the grounds.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Be
gone, parents. Be gone. You only gave me a name.
That's just nutty, man. That's just nutty.
Family drama, man. Can't be bringing that ish up in here.
I was
bad juju, young. I missed my putt. It was after he missed a putt. And he was like, all right, son of a, get him out of here. Out. I know it's because they're here.
Leering at me. So
I missed the 3-foot putt. They're gone.
I can kind of understand some people not wanting their parents there. There is a hockey player named Jack Johnson, not the singer, whose parents literally stole like $10 million from him.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you've got bad parents, I can understand keeping them away.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Did they do the same thing? Did they just rob him of his fortune?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen some news floating around out there. Like, is he, Patrick Reed, one of the golf's top villains, and manufacturing this storyline about him being a bad guy? And you're right. It's very weird. What has he done to deserve it? The Masters, I think it's the last 4 years, a different person has won the Masters.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a storyline in and of itself.
I think it's been 7 out of 8 of the last Masters have been won by non-major winners or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
I will say,
fantastic.
A little American pride. The top 3 at the Masters were Reed, Fowler, and Spieth. Oh, beautiful for space. This guy's.
Where did our boy Tiger finish? That's all I want to know.
I believe he finished +1 overall, so 16 off the lead.
Oh.
So he brought it back a little bit, but he did not play well. He at least made it into the weekend by the skin of his teeth.
Mm-hmm. I mean, pretty tough course, man. A lot of people, only the top really 25 were, under par. I mean, that just goes to show you just how great Patrick Reed was playing to finish 15 under.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard about this, but over the weekend they changed. The fourth hole is a par 3 that was playing at over 200 yards, and they brought it in basically by 100 yards. The tee box by 100 yards for Saturday and Sunday.
Oh wow! No, I didn't hear that.
Tiger almost hit a hole-in-one on the 4th on Sunday.
Oh wow! I did not know that, but I did see McIlroy kind of collapse on Sunday. He finished 2 over for the day, kind of fell down. He was there running in second. Yep,
and just faded late. I'll tell you what really got under my skin about McIlroy was on Saturday in a press conference. He took a couple digs at Reed, and it's very unsportsmanlike, especially if that's the guy you're going to be paired with the next day. It didn't sit well with me, and it kind of just reminded me, one of the things that's always bothered me about McIlroy is that there's just kind of a sniveling, I'm better than you kind of ego there.
That doesn't sound like a Brit at all, Robert.
Oh my God. Anyways, so I don't want to go on the Rory McIlroy hate parade because there are a lot of people who like him, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've never been much of a fan, and that just kind of hurts his reputation even more. I think golf is definitely one of those sports that you got to show some sportsmanship and realize that just because you're not winning, dude, you got to step aside and, give me a break.
Yeah.
Dude, the purse for Augusta, $11 million for 4 days of golf, $11 million.
Yeah, man.
That's just sickening. I miss my calling.
Well, it's $11 million overall. That's not for the winner. The winner's like $1.8 million.
Oh, okay. So I misunderstood that.
Yeah. No. That's right. Yeah, the purse is divided amongst all the players. Like first place is like 1.8, second place is like 1.2 or something like that.
Sure. Wow.
But yeah.
So.
Well, that's the other thing. I think players would try and win more if they didn't have so many sponsorships.
Yeah.
Have a bigger purse, have less sponsorships, but that's just how it works. Because there are guys who never win and they have a career. I mean, they've got nice houses and planes and crap like that, and they have no wins to their names. So
and just love playing the game. But yeah, you got to show some sportsmanship. Just step aside. Everybody's having their day, and just let him have his, man. Come on. I don't understand that and why I need to. I don't know what do you remember what the comments were? I'm curious now. What he said.
Which ones? Oh, what Rory said about him?
Yeah.
Oh, just like, he's really inexperienced. He's never been in this position before. He's likely to fade tomorrow. These are all paraphrasing, but it's essentially to the effect of, he's going to fold under the pressure.
Yeah, wanted to see him choke. That way he could show that he was not among the elite.
Well, and here's the deal. Okay, Rory, do you want to win because he choked, or do you want to win because you beat him? What honor in that is winning because somebody else failed? Like, we always ask that question after a title. Did this team win it, or did the other team lose it?
I'm just like Patrick Ray's just a bloody wanker. I mean, he's hitting out golf clubs, acting like he's
Randy,
a golfer or something.
You do realize he's Irish.
Damn it.
Oh, Faith and Bigorra, head out there hitting the ball.
He was a wee little bit shot.
All right. So if you have enjoyed the show, remember you can always follow us on Twitter at CriscoCast. You can also find us on Facebook at Crisco Industries. If you're listening to the podcast, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Crisco Brand Biscuits. And if you are listening to this on YouTube, check out the podcast at rnrpodcast.libsyn.com, something along those lines. If you're a fan of the show, you want to see it grow, and you like to support us, find us on patreon.com/Crisco Industries. Even just $1 a month is super duper helpful, helps us pay for the server space and helps us plan to grow. And if you don't feel like doing that, tell your friends. That's the best way that you can help us to grow the show, and we can help you and provide more content. So please share with your friends and rate the show on iTunes and Google Play.
Alrighty.
That sounded a little Kiwi there. Alrighty.
All right.
All right. So you have wasted another perfectly reasonable afternoon, evening, or morning listening to the R&R Sports Podcast. Oh, also, we're contractually obligated to thank Dave Grohl.
Praise be unto thee.
So, for Rando, I'm Robert. We'll see y'all next time on the R&R Sports Podcast. Bye.